Hey everyone, we're going to do some music today on the channel. There's a piece that I've been playing quite a bit lately just for fun, which is Blinded by Light from Final Fantasy XIII. Great piece, really enjoyable. I'm not going to play the original soundtrack here because of copyright issues, but you can easily find it and go listen to it on streaming service of your choice. And what I want to do with that piece here today is to do a really beginner level analysis to say, what if you know very little music theory? Maybe you just know sort of major scale, minor scale, and you know the names of the notes and can kind of figure out which notes go in which scale with a little time and effort. If that's all you know, can you still analyze this piece and can you enjoy it and appreciate it? And the answer is definitely yes. And I hope this helps you play it a little bit better as well if you're interested in that. So those are pretty much the ingredients. Let's just get right to it. The first of the three parts of the song, very simple. And the notes that those are on my sixth string here are A, G sharp, C sharp, A, G sharp, C sharp. So you look at that and you're like, all right, what is this? It's kind of a weird shape. It's a little bit of a weird sound. So you want to think about it in terms of, is there a major scale or is there a minor scale that these notes fit into? So major scale shape on the bass is going to look like this. Or if we had a minor scale, it would look like. So out of those two, you look at the notes and you say, okay, where does this go in? We have, and that could totally fit in a major scale. All three of those notes are in that A major scale. A, G sharp, C sharp, A, G sharp, C sharp. So maybe we're in A major here. But you're like, okay, so what else might this fit into? Well, it could be. That's the beginning of a minor scale that all three of these notes fit into as well. That is going to be. So, counting out the frets here, again, we're keeping it beginner level here. A, G sharp, F sharp. So this could be F sharp minor. Which of those two is it? That's where you have to get into the rest of the piece and say, what are the other instruments playing? How does it all fit together? But this already gives you a good starting point because you're like, okay, whatever's coming up, if I play something in this sort of A major area, it'll probably sound good. And as more notes come along and as more figures come in, then you can work out what those are more quickly, knowing what sort of the center of the melody is coming from. So that's part one, really easy. All right, now we're on to part two. So with part two, the way that this goes, it starts out like this, and I'm actually going to stop halfway through to do a little bit of thinking. Here's how it starts. That's the first bit of it. So again, major scale or minor scale? First thing you can say is, which way does it sound more? Does it sound more major E? Or does it sound more minor E? Well, play it again. More of a minor sound. So you say, all right, let's see if there's a minor scale that fits. Sure is. Here's all the notes, if you don't know the notes on the fretboard. We're going to go C sharp, F sharp, E, E, D, C sharp. And then it goes F sharp, B, G sharp. then that's the second part of the line. So looking at the notes that are here, we're doing this C sharp, F sharp thing a lot. So that suggests that we might be in F sharp because we're going like 5, 1, landing on F sharp. And looking at the notes that we have F sharp and G sharp, and we have B and C sharp and D and E. So these are all like straight out of the F sharp minor scale. We're pretty reliably in F sharp minor here. The reason this helps you out is as you're trying to work out the notes in the piece, if you don't have sheet music or you don't have tab, you figure out the first few notes. So I'm like, all right, I got that note, that B, that's only in the minor scale. It's not in the major scale. So that helps because now I'm like, I'm going to look for more notes in the minor scale. And the very next one is also in the minor scale. So knowing where you are helps you figure out notes faster. That's really the point, is you want to learn the piece quickly so you can get to enjoying playing it. So that's the second part. Now, how this relates back to the first part I was like, maybe we're in major, maybe we're in minor, it fits both, and it wasn't really clear what the tonal center was in the first part, but now you can see that that first part also fits into this F sharp minor scale. Or these are all drawing from the same set of notes. And it's kind of a fun thing about the piece that it starts out ambiguous and you're like, I don't know what key I'm in. I don't know if I'm in major or minor. What's going on here? I'm like adrift in the seas of chaos. But then you get to the second part of the piece and it has this developed feel of a certain scale and you're like, that's where I am. Now I have a musical center to refer to. So that's part one. Part two, I guess part three comes next. Let's see what the next part has to say. So leading out of part two, again we had doing all that F sharp minor-y stuff. And then we get to so before I go on, you can hear that it's gone from sounding minor E to sounding major E. But it's all the same set of notes. So some of you may already know this, but this is called a relative major and a relative minor. They are the same set of notes, but those notes can be arranged into a minor scale or a major scale depending on which one you start on, which note you start on. So if you start on F sharp, then this collection of notes is F sharp minor. But if you start on A, the same collection of notes is A major. Great, so now you learned something today. Or you already knew it, but either way, in the piece, instead of going 5, 1, and then doing minor stuff, we're going 5, 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 1. And then that's that major third that says, all right, we're in major now. And it really, it sets this section of the song apart as being different from the others. We've gone from tonally ambiguous to tonally minor to definitely tonally major. And so there's this series of moods that it takes you through as the sections evolve. But it's all using the same set of notes. We haven't done any weird key changes. We haven't done any weird like flat, sharp, borrowed note, whatever business. It's just arranging that same set of 7 notes in different orders so that they sound different to us. Anyway, so we're doing E, A, B, A, E, A, B, A. And then B, C sharp, D, A. But then, the trick. And you're like, wait just a darn heckin' minute here. I thought we were in A major, and A major goes like this. With a G sharp, A. But we definitely just played G natural there. Sorry, it goes like with a G natural up to A. So are we in A major or are we not? Like, what's going on here? Well, let's keep playing the piece and see what happens. We've been lied to. Not lied to, misled. That last set of notes, I just played a D major scale. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Which is very, very close to an A major scale, but one note is different. So that G sharp versus G natural has kind of been set aside through the rest of the song. I haven't really called attention to it. And now we're finally forced to say, like, all right, am I in A or I am in D, or is something else happening? So just to play through that again so you can hear the whole thing and hear where that G natural marks a change of some kind. Oh, so we just played a major scale. Sounded nice. Maybe we're in D major. All right, on to the 3.5 part here out of 3. This is the climax of the piece. It's also the part that gets us back to the starting point because this does loop in the original game. So we had just figured out that we're in D major, actually. That G natural gave it away. I am going to drop it down an octave here, so I'm not like, you know, doing crazy things up there. So getting back into the piece, we were here. And now I'm going to drop down. All right, D major. And then the next note jumps up. We're not just going up the scale anymore. But we're going to be somewhere over here-ish. And this is where knowing what scale you're in helps you figure out notes faster. You're like, okay, I'm in D. It's got to be one of these options. So you're like, oh, where are we even? A, D, E, D, A, D, E, D. And then D, sorry, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, A, bum, 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 bum. If your relative pitch is good and you've learned these intervals, then you can hopefully just figure that out by ear. But if you're not, like 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, then knowing that, again, we're in D still helps you hunt for that note faster because you're like, nope, that's not right. Ah, that's right. And now I'm just coming back down the scale. A, G, F sharp, E. Well, I wonder what note has to be next. It's kind of like, yeah, I gotta go there, right? So, just kidding, we actually go back up. It's so simple in a way that it's like, I'm just gonna play these notes from this scale. But it still manages to sound so exciting because of the patterns that are used, of the fact that we don't just go, you know, because it's like, it's not a nursery rhyme. We're gonna go land on that E instead of going back to D and hold it out for some emotion and for some tension. Again, jumping up, but knowing that we're going to land somewhere in the scale. So A, yes, now is where it starts to get weird. Weird from a simple major scale, minor scale, which one is it point of view. We have to get back to the original starting point of the piece somehow, again, because it loops. So as we've wandered around this landscape of like, am I in A major? No, I was actually in F sharp minor. Okay, cool, I'm in F sharp minor. Oh, well, F sharp minor is A major. All right, that's great. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't A major because it had a G natural. I was actually in D major, but the very first notes of the piece were with a G sharp. So this is that pivot between G natural, G sharp. That's where a lot of the interesting drama in the piece comes in from a theory perspective of, is this A major? Is this D major? Is this F sharp minor? Like, work with me here. So I'll just play through the rest for once and then break it down a little bit. And those last three notes are C natural, which we haven't really had a lot of yet. And then I guess you could say that's a B flat, or you could say it's an A sharp. And then we land on A, which is where the whole thing started. So that's how it gets us back to A. There are some chromatic notes there. It uses some notes from outside the scale to move by half steps to change the center of the piece. And after all that, as I said, we finally land back on A, and that takes us right back to. So that's the whole piece. But all of these notes, except for a couple funny, weird little transitional ones at the end, are straight from major scale, minor scale, and knowing where those notes live in the scale helps to see, where does the emotion come from, where do the surprises come from, where does the ambiguity come from. Because even though this is a pretty bombastic piece and like it's a battle theme and it's a main theme and it's all of these things, a lot of what makes it super interesting is those little turning points where it catches you musically and you're like, that's not what I thought was going to happen, or that's not what I thought was going to happen. Maybe we do have a home base here after all. So maybe you thought that was interesting. I'll just play through the whole thing now and shut up. Well, it's Tim from the future here. You can see the bass has disappeared. I wonder where it went. Well, the guitar came out and the drums came out, and next thing you know, it's a whole thing. So I guess we'll have a cover of that song coming to the channel sometime soon. Just need to finish making it. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's long enough already, so we're just going to call it here. I hope you learned something. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.